Good evening and welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a little bit since I've posted another one on this land battleship, but so I'm back. Anyway, talking about tracks. So I know this is kind of where I left it last time. What I've done so far is I've gone in and I've put the bogies on the, let me take that off. I'm going to put the bogies in on this side, and I put this on with white glue so that I could take those off to paint later once I've kind of fiddled with all this thing. So we've kind of put all this together, and if we look at the instructions and where we are and what's left on this, there's the tracks top to bottom, putting the top to bottom, a couple of details on all that. The main turret, which is essentially part of the top. All right, so you've got the assembly of the main turret to go. And, come on, focus, please. So what's focusing? Let's see if I can get this focused. There we go. All right, so you've got your this whole page is nothing but the main gun turret, and then you're done, right? So you've got the skirts and then you put the main turret in. So I think where I'm going with this here is we're kind of at the end of a subassembly. So if I kind of finish off the bottom and then look at getting the top piece put on, the top piece going on sort of means the tracks have to go on. So I think what I may end up having to do is base coat this part so that I get the parts where the tracks are done. So do all the bogies, paint all those, get the base coat on this and get all this stuff painted, then put this up, put the top piece and finish the rest of the installation, and then do the whole coat of the model. So at least that's what it's looking like. So where we are now though is we're at the tracks. So we're at this step. And there's essentially these. You have two assemblies. You've got this one here, which is that, and then this one here, which is that. So this is 7 pieces of track, which go here around the idler, and then 8 pieces of track, which go around the sprocket. Okay, so there's a bunch of those, they're on the A sprues, and I started to do these things, and I noticed something. Now, there are probably 1 million or more videos on how to do tracks, right? On how to do individual link tracks. And this is all link and length stuff. So you're only doing, 7 or 8 in a run and you're done. So it's not like it's that hard. But there was something that, so I watched those videos, and I've watched videos on how to do tracks because I follow things, but something kind of interesting caught me on these. And that is that these guys don't do what I anticipated, in that they don't click together. They just rest together. So if you look at these pieces, right, that just rests. Oops, I guess it helps to have it the right way. It just rests on that piece. So if you look at there, that's this little flat piece, or it's sort of in concave rounded, and then that round piece of the track just sort of rests in on it. So it's not like magic tracks or any of those other tracks that have some sort of a connector that makes them articulate or even sort of click home. I mean, this literally just rests in place. So you make your run, right? And you put you guys together, and they just sort of sit there together, and you glue them. So I'm going to do these 3. So really all I'm doing here with this is putting a dab in each of these spots when they're there, and you can see what it wants to do, right? So they recommend using a straight edge, and I've been using this pencil. right, to kind of line them up. But that's literally all you do is they just rest. You give them a shot of thin, and that's enough. Just like all the other ones, like the other ones where you glue them together, and that's all you need, and they'll stay together. So you give them about, I don't know, a couple minutes. And let me go ahead and do these 7. So there's 3, 5, 6, 7. So let me do this quick run of 7 here. And this really is all that's needed. And then, and really, I mean, just touching it does that. Just touching it makes them come apart. But I mean, you guys who've done trike tracks before, you get this. This is really only for folks who've never seen this before, or this is the first time you've seen this model. I've never, of course, I've never really done tracks before, so I guess this is fascinating to me because it's new and different. Those of you guys who have done stuff like this before are probably going, "Oh my God, that idiot! What the heck is he doing? Doesn't he know better to not do it like that?" Or blah blah blah. So it's entirely possible that there's a better way. But this is what worked for me. Is literally just go through and put a little bit on here and let it dry up a little bit. And it's not like I have to wait long. Right? So once it's enough to kind of hold together, which this is now, I then go to the sprocket or go to the wheel, and you can see that that wasn't enough. That one still needs to form. And you just form it around the wheel. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to form it around the wheel. And so you have to do it when it's still, what's the word I'm looking for? Malleable enough to still form. So there's that. Now all I do is I take it, and I make sure it's going the right direction. So if you look at the way the tracks go, so this was something that, I almost didn't pay attention to the first time. I could have done it the wrong way around. But, now it's formed up enough that I can get the right angle around the wheel and get it to look right. And that's really all I need to do. And then I can just sort of let it sit there and let it form up. And that's what I am going to do now. I am now going to put that on and set this aside, essentially walk away from it. And then once that's formed up a bit, I'll take the upper run and then I'll glue that in so that I can pull those together and they can just sit together. That's how I did this one. So doing the track, oops, and that just fell off up there. So let's get this guy back on. Put it on this guy here, down here. So that'll hopefully hold it in place a little better. There we go. So there. So once I've done that, right? So now that once I do that and I do the one over the sprocket, then I can drop these in. I will probably leave this one undone, or I might not even glue both of them on. But I want to then, once I have the tracks done, I can take them off and I can base coat the underneath. So once I've got all the base pieces here, I will go through and I will make sure that I have all of the detail parts. So like these pieces here that go to the bottom part of the hull, right? So here, I want to move that over. So the piece that goes to all the bottom part of the hull, I can then base coat. Once it's base painted, I can also then paint the tracks, complete the tracks, or at least the most of the painting on the tracks, then put them in place so I can then lay the top over and bury it over there. So what we see here, if we look at this, when this comes down on top of this, it then makes this difficult to get to. So the only way, really, the tracks have to go on before this goes on, But then this has to go on before you can finish up all the rest of the stuff on the upper hull. There's a couple of detail parts like this front plate and a couple of other things. If there's a way I can do it so I can have the top be completely separate, then that would be even better, because then I can do all of that except for, I can do that, I can do the upper turret, and I can do all the other detail pieces. Then I can paint the top piece, the bottom piece, and the tracks all kind of separately, then sort of bring it together, then, final paint, which is kind of what I'd like to do. But anyway, I know there's not a lot of visible progress, or at least what it seems to be, but that's how far we are right at this moment with the land battleship. But it's actually winding up, right? It's getting to the point now. All I really need to do is the upper turret, finish the tracks, which is not much, finish the upper turret and the upper hull, then I can get into painting, which is going to be where we'll probably be next time. So I did want to get a little bit out to let you guys, or at least show off the that little trick about the tracks. I had not, like I said, this didn't align with what I had seen all the other track videos be, in that the tracks seem to, these don't click together or have some sort of retention, other than they just lay in together and then glue them. And there may be other ones, like I said, I'm not an expert. This is my first real tank in, I don't know, 30 years. And, back then the height of, what's the word I'm looking for? The height of technology was rubber band track. So anyway, I hope this is interesting, or at least useful for those of you who are just seeing this model for the first time or looking at it. And until next time, when I get some more stuff on this, I will see you next time, and happy modeling, everyone.